Good morning, everybody. Now, there's a case that comes before the Court of Appeal in the UK this week, which is a very, very important case. And it's a free speech case. And it's the case of a Christian teacher called Christy Higgs, who was fired from her job as a teacher, I think 7 years ago now. And she was accused of gross misconduct, which is the most serious thing a school can accuse a teacher of. And normally, if someone is accused of that, then they get fired. It's the school covering itself by going through their disciplinary procedures and then accusing someone of this because they want to remove them from teaching and employment. I know this because I've been a teacher myself. All she did essentially was put some social media posts on Facebook to her friends questioning the LGBT agenda and transgenderism and relationships and sex education, which is a completely viable and legitimate opinion. And I must say, I declare 100% I agree with her. I do not think there should be relationships and sex education in school, or comprehensive sexuality education, or as it's called in some places. And I don't think that children, especially children in primary school, should be taught about LGBT. And I stood up in the London Assembly when there was a debate on this, when I was a London Assembly member, and said as much. And I was roundly heckled and condemned by all the other political parties in the Assembly, including the fake Conservative Party, because that's what the establishment wants to push on our children. But if you are a socially conservative person, if you're a Christian, or people of other faiths as well, Muslims, Hindus, Sikhs, would all, I think, agree with me that we should let children be children, and children are not sexual from birth, which is what the people who have infiltrated education want to push into the classroom. This idea of queer theory, where children are sexual from birth and there's no distinction between adults and children. We've just had our Heritage Party conference this weekend, and Kim Isherwood from Public Child Protection Wales, who is fighting this in Wales, explained this very, very well. And this is what some people now believe, and is filtering down from the insane people who have got into positions of heads of department in universities and academia, and it's filtering down into the classroom and into school level, where teachers want to sexualize children from the very, very youngest age. I oppose that completely and 100%. Now, I don't know exactly the words which were in Christie's posts there, but she was fired for what I would consider to be absolutely legitimate opinions. And the opinions, actually, of the majority of people in this country who don't think that children should be subject to what was coming into schools from that time onwards, and is now in more schools, in more countries, in more places. And we continue to stand up against it and say that it's wrong. I personally support home education now, because I think that state education in the UK has got to such a point that, I think children are better off not actually being in a cultural Marxist indoctrination centre, which is a great shame, because at one time there were some schools which did a really, really good job in educating children, in teaching them subjects, skills, and how to think and how to survive and thrive on their own and solve problems, and rather than indoctrinating them with all of the junk that is coming from people who are creating junk. I could say a lot more about that, but I won't in this particular video here. So this case, which is coming before the Court of Appeal now, Christy Higgs's case, is being represented by the Christian Legal Centre, who do a great job in representing a lot of people for free speech issues, among other things, because we are living in a country now which, having been the home of free speech for so many centuries, is now so inverted that the Parliament, that the courts, that the systems which we have are militating against free speech, and particularly free speech for people with Christian, conservative, and traditional values, our principles, or facts, which are often called hate facts. If you say there are two sexes, male and female, there are not 79 genders. That's called hate speech now. Now, I don't think there should be anything called hate in law. But where they got her here, apparently, is they said that the things that she posted on social media could be construed as being hostile to the LGBT community. Well, if people want to get offended by perfectly normal, religious, Christian, traditional, scientific, factual opinion, that's up to them. They really need to be less sensitive and actually, get an education themselves. But we're now at a point where this is written into the public sector equality duty in the Equality Act 2010. It's section 149. You can look it up on legislation.gov.uk. And it says something like, if you are employed in the public sector, you must not... it's not stoke up hostility, but you must not be seen to be hostile to people with protected characteristics. You must foster good relations or good relationships with minority communities. And this is written into law. I mean, which is ridiculous because it gives anyone carte blanche to accuse someone of being hostile or of being unfriendly and then getting them fired. When a lot of them are just, 100 times more hostile than anyone just putting some scientific facts on their social media pages. So this is free speech on trial. It's something that should never even have gone to the courts. It should never be an issue. But the fact is here, we have this law, we have these pressure groups militating against people with normal opinions and getting them fired, which shouldn't be happening anywhere in the world, in any country, let alone England. This case is happening in England, nor Wales, Scotland, or Northern Ireland come to that matter. It shouldn't be happening, but it is, and it's going to the High Court this week, and it's a very, very important case because Christy needs to win this case because obviously she needs to win it for herself, so that she can prove that there was wrongful dismissal here. But this case may set a precedent and be looked back on for many years to come. And we need to set the right precedent that people have the right to express their opinions to their friends on social media without living in fear of being fired from their job. And this is not an opinion which is causing harm to anybody else. It's just an opinion that some people, for some reason, disagree with, they get the hump with, and they think, I don't like you, you're a homophobic, or you're transphobic, or you're far right, or you're this, or you're that, and the other, or you're the other. And you get people making these accusations all the time, every day. Now, I mean, to me, it gets tiresome. I get accused of all these kind of things every day. But, it's dull and boring now, and so it's just, why bother? Because these things have lost their meaning. But back in 2017, this really was when people were fighting to cancel people who didn't have the right opinions on LGBTQIA, plus 3G issues, or whatever it's called. But, it's just now coming to the Court of Appeal this week because the wheels of justice turn slowly. Far too slowly in some cases, because it's already went to an employment tribunal and then an employment appeal court, and now it's come to the Court of Appeal itself, the main national Court of Appeal. and the only higher up place to get a ruling after the Court of Appeal is the Supreme Court. And, they may or may not give leave for the case to go on there. So all best wishes to Christy and the Christian Legal Centre this week, fighting this case and fighting for Christy and fighting for free speech for all of us, whoever we are and wherever we are. Let's pray that the right judgment is given in this case, which should never be in the courts in the first place. Thanks for listening, everybody. God bless you all.